Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. And first of all, a big thank you to each and every one of you for coming back and joining me for another episode. And my first question is, do we have any content creators in the house? If we do, I think you might find today's guest quite interesting. And of course, there is an argument that we're all content creators now, right? Whether you're an individual or a business, I think most of you listening would have shared a photo, video, written an article, listened to a podcast, written an online review, and so much more. But let's talk about content creation and sharing content in a world obsessed with video and mobile devices. For example, when we're browsing content or scrolling down an endless news feed or timeline on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or indeed any platform, you may have noticed an increasing number of videos with no sound on them and just captions at the bottom. This is how we are increasingly digesting information now and making it shareable. And this trend is something that's fascinated me, but as someone that records 30 podcast episodes a month, most of the options out there involve incredibly expensive subscriptions, not to mention a big time suck too. But that was until I discovered Oliver Wellington, founder of Headliner Video. So I invited him on the show today to learn more about what they're doing and even why big media companies such as CNN are using the Headliner service to make their content more shareable and stand out from that big sea of tweets out there with nothing but a text title and a link. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to New York City so we can speak with Oliver Wellington, founder of Headliner Video. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
So my name is Oliver Wellington, and I am a startup founder. It's my second startup. It's called Headliner.app, a company that makes it easy to turn your clips from your podcast or your radio show, or even actually turn blog posts, all of that stuff, into videos. And so we kind of have been working on this product for about a year now, and it's been really a fun, exciting thing to build.
So this is your second startup there. So have you got a whole heap of lessons that you've learned that you're going to do things differently this time around?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of the things like when to hire people. Like, so, you know, we do a lot of stuff ourselves as the founders, my co-founder and I, right? And so kind of like when to scale up certain teams and like what's the right time to hand off certain duties to other people has been kind of like a thing we've kind of learned. And then just also about, our first startup was like very scrappy and we did all of it on a very small amount of money. And this time we raised a little bit more money to kind of speed things up, which has been great. But yeah, I mean, I think the main lesson is just to show up and work hard every day.
Yeah, I certainly get that. Now, as someone obviously that records and publishes a daily tech podcast, I was recently looking into ways I could bring the social media post to life by actually embedding audio or maybe adding a video too. So when I was doing this search, it led me to you guys at Headliner and how you're actually leveraging the power of AI to speed up video creation too. Because as someone that has tried to create videos, especially when I'm recording daily tech podcasts, it's incredibly daunting. And as you know, video creation is incredibly time consuming. So I haven't used Headliner yet. So I just thought it would be a great idea to invite you on and learn a little bit more about it first. So can you offer an overview of what services you offer and who they're actually aimed at?
Sure. So Headliner is it's an online video creation platform. It's built mostly around repurposing existing content into video for social media. So there's a few different places you can start from to do that. The main kind of home we have and the main way people use it is for audio. So that's podcasters, radio producers, and such. So essentially you take a clip from your podcast and you add in a moving waveform, images, video, captions. Captions are actually very important to add to social video because there's like a stat that's out there that about 85% of all social video is watched with the sound off. So if you're a podcast and you want to make a video from your audio, it's, if it's just kind of like a moving waveform, there's a good chance that people won't won't actually listen to it. So adding captions is a big thing. The other thing that we kind of offer is you can make the videos for any size. So you can have square videos for like Facebook and Instagram. You can have vertical video for the stories format. And you can have the standard landscape video for YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that. People kind of mix and match sizes based on platform to some degree. But, when you're talking about, speed to creation and stuff, so the one thing you can do, which is kind of cool in terms of video sizing, is you can copy your project from one aspect ratio to another. So if you make it in landscape, you can easily set that project up into the other sizes as well if you want to produce a single video that you then put out on all the different social platforms. So kind of stepping back a little bit, if you go into Headliner, I'll just take you through kind of like the different, we have wizards to kind of get you going. So there's the Audiogram wizard, which is the first one, kind of like what I mentioned around making short social videos for audio, and it all can be done very quickly. I actually made a video. I actually created one from an audio clip in less than a minute using Headliner, which was kind of nice to show that it is that easy. There's also another wizard we have is called Full Episode, and so that allows you to take your audio up to 2 hours long and make a simple audiogram with just a moving waveform and an image for YouTube. There's a new wizard we have called Article to Video, and in that one you actually take a link to a blog post or an article. It generally works best right now with things with like proper nouns, like famous people, celebrities, places, stuff like that. And it'll summarize your content there, pull out keywords and match those to images from some of our image partners, and kind of put those on the timeline. And it might not be 100% perfect, but you can go in and then edit stuff, and it just saves a lot of time kind of getting you started with that video project. You could also just go straight into our editor. It's like a pretty full-featured, nonlinear video editing tool, and kind of start from scratch if you want to. So like that's, the basic overview of Headliner, the app, and it's a pretty easy way to create video. And even as easy it is, some people actually would prefer not to spend the time doing that. And so we opened a thing we call Marketplace, and people actually can pay anywhere from $1 up to $10, and we'll actually have the videos created for them. They just send over their assets. And so that's kind of something else we've been working on too, which has been going pretty well.
Fantastic. It does sound incredibly cool. And I must admit, everything I've came across in the past is just too time consuming. And I don't help myself at all by producing a daily tech podcast. So it's going to take me a long time anyway, rather than having just a weekly podcast. So as a podcaster that actively wants to liven up my social posts and promote my podcast episodes, can you just talk me through how I would get up and running, and for other podcasters listening at home, how they could get up and running?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to use it, and the best kind of entry point for podcasters is just, so it's all free to use. So you can, you just create an account, and then you can go in, and I would highly suggest using the Audiogram wizard. All you need to bring to that is your podcast file, like an MP3 or a WAV or whatever audio you want, format you have. You just bring the clip there, and then you can add like the image, the waveform, the captions, and all that stuff. And it's kind of like a step-by-step process in the wizard. So you don't really need to know anything about video editing to get it done. You could basically go through the wizard and then just hit the export button. Or if you want to get more in depth, your project will be filled out in the editor, and you can kind of go from there. So, that's like the easiest way to get going for free. If you wanted to just test out and see them, the Marketplace thing we're doing is a relatively inexpensive way to also just kind of see what your posts, what kind of videos could get made, and get them made that way too.
So the only difference between the free version and the paid-for version is just the paid-for version, someone will just take away that hassle for you. Is that right? Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, basically, it's the difference between going into a video editor and creating something yourself versus hiring a freelancer to do it, essentially.
Now, the problem, of course, you alluded to it a few moments ago, is we all want to put ourselves out there and share our content on multiple platforms, and YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram stories, and Snapchat all demand a variety of shapes and sizes. So let's assume that I've created a video for Twitter and I can share it on there. How easy is it to then just export that exact same thing over to the other platforms? I don't have to start again, do I?
No, you can actually, you go in and there's a ability to copy from that size to any other size. So you can kind of make the video. You might have to recrop some images, but like the text is all set up and the images are all there. You just kind of recrop them a little bit. It usually takes a few minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, and then you just hit export and you're good to go.
So what's the technology behind the platform? I did see the big buzzword of the year, artificial intelligence, in there. So can you tell me a little bit more about the tech that makes it all possible?
Sure. So one of the things we spend a bit of time on is cropping. It kind of sounds silly, but in these automated projects that we do, getting the cropping just right, like making sure you're cropping around people's faces and in the right part of the image, we spend a bit of time on. So for the most part, like if you use any of the automated tools, the images will actually be cropped pretty well. There's also work around kind of extracting the keywords and kind of figuring out the right ways, the right images to go with the right keywords in the right order. So those are kind of like the main areas that we're using AI stuff in.
So earlier this year, I visited Denver and I did a bit of a talk there to a lot of, I think it was about 50 to 100 people there, talking about how easy it should be to podcast. And my plan was to stand up there and tell everyone how easy it is to podcast. Now I could get anybody up and running just by recording a few words and then how to publish it to various channels. But I quickly learned that everyone in the audience, they all wanted to create their own podcast, but they didn't want to learn. They just wanted somebody else to do it. So if I bring that back to myself now, if I'm doing 30 a month and I don't want to learn how to do this, I'm going to nervously ask her, how much is it going to cost me to get you guys to create these videos for me? Have you got a pricing structure in place there?
Yeah, so I mean, if you were doing 30 a month, so it depending on the type of videos you wanted, it would be anywhere from $30. It would go anywhere from $30 to $300 a month depending on the types of videos you wanted. So like a simple audiogram, it would be, anywhere, it would be about $50 to $100 a month.
Cool. So are there any examples that you have of how people are making the most of Headliner and the kind of results they're getting? Are there any big name podcasts that you're working with that are actually actively sharing using Headliner at the moment?
Yeah, so we have a number of big people using it now. So we're pretty big across like Sirius XM, the satellite radio company. So they're using it like, if you look at their feeds, a lot of those videos are made with us. CNN is using it for their podcast. Masters of Scale, it's a podcast with Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, and Cafe, just like tons and tons of different kind of, mostly a lot of podcasters, a lot of media companies. I know Wondery uses it sometimes. So, it's tons of different podcasters, and then also radio companies. And then in terms of like the results, we've heard from people anecdotally. So we don't actually know the exact results in terms of like, because we don't track it in kind of a massive way, right? Because we're just exporting the video. But people have been saying that they get anywhere from like 5 to 10x the amount of engagement that they get compared to just posting static images and stuff like that.
So as a startup founder, I mean, how did you get all these big names such as CNN involved and attracted to Headliner? Did a lot of them approach you, or did you have to put yourself out there a little bit?
So for this, this company, we focused really heavily on kind of encouraging word of mouth marketing, just by, our kind of theory is that if we have a good product and we support our users and ask them to share it, they will. And that's really the main way we've grown, is just through people referring to other people they know, which has been a cool way to grow, because then we don't have to be like super salesy or any of those things. And people come there, really willing to learn. And another big kind of strategy for us has been community building. So, most of the features in Headliner are things that have been suggested to us by our users. And so, people get really kind of excited and bought into the product when they suggest a new feature, and then they see it come out a couple of weeks later. So that's kind of been the main way that we've been growing.
I would imagine it kind of speaks for itself when people are seeing these kind of videos on social media and being promoted. Podcasters are going to look instantly and think, why am I not doing something like that, aren't they? And just buy into it instantly, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, as we move forward, how do you see Headliner evolving? Is there anything else that you can share with me about the future for Headliner and ultimately what your grand vision is for the company?
Sure. So I think, this year's been all about audio for us. And we're going to continue to work on audio, but we're trying to branch out into all types of social videos. So everything from, publishers that publish written content to like small businesses that need to create, either content marketing kind of stuff like branded content for their social channels or even ads for their social channels. So our kind of grand vision is to become the largest online video creation platform on the web. And that's pretty grand, I think.
Absolutely. And anyone that's looked on any social media timeline, of course, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, any of them, we do see more and more videos now, which are silent because nobody has the sound on a bus or train unless you're incredibly annoying. And but the captions are so important, and it seems to be so, whether it be a podcast, whether it be a video, or whether it be an article, you need that visual aspect to promote it now, don't you? Especially on mobile devices.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's funny. I'm in the world of, creating video now, and it's where everything's going is video. And I kind of have mixed feelings because it's like at some point are people just going to stop reading, or are they only going to be reading captions? But aside from all that, maybe I'm just kind of sounding like an older person now, but yeah, video is huge, and it's pretty much. I mean, I think video is going to be the main way people consume everything in a few more years. I mean, forget about just like media consumption. It's going to even be, it's how you communicate with friends and family too. So it's kind of wild, just like that huge shift that's going on as everyone has a mobile phone, everyone has access to a little screen at all times. So yeah, video is just going to keep on growing and growing.
Yeah, I completely understand what you said there. Your words really resonated with me, especially because I'm an older person, as you would say, and I make a living through writing articles and recording audio podcasts. So I need to face up to the fact that I need to get more involved in video, and that's one of the reasons I looked you guys up, because you need to bring, if it's just a written article, you need to bring it to life now and make it fit the audience, because otherwise no one's going to read it, just a plain text link. But if we do have anyone listening out there that would like to check Headliner out, can you just remind them where they can find you guys online, and maybe even contact a member of your team if they've got any questions after our conversation today? Sure.
So it's headliner.app. That's headliner.app. You can go there and you can learn some more about it or sign up. It's all free. And then for email, info@headliner.app is probably the best way to reach us. Also, if you're on the website in the bottom right, there's a little chat icon that will allow you to either chat with someone or send an email to support if we're not around. And we're a small team. We're actually only 8 people. So if you email that, there's about 3 of us that kind of handle the email responses. So you'll either hear from me or someone else on the team.
Well, I'm going to make you a promise here. At the end of this episode, when we publish it, and when I begin promoting it over the next couple of days, I'm going to give Headliner a try and create a little video and send it out there. I'll be interested in how it's actually received by everyone listening and what they think of it. And if it's a big hit, we'll do it for every episode. It's going to take up even more time in my day, but I'll give that. That's a pledge I make for you. But a big thank you for coming on and making me aware of this. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been awesome.
Like I said in the show, I'm the kind of guy that makes a living writing articles and publishing audio content in a visual world obsessed with video on mobile devices. So yes, I can be the old guy complaining about the good old days and how nobody reads anything anymore, or I can evolve with these trends. Because I get that in a visual world, people are not going to want to click on a link next to a text-based headline. And I don't want to have to resort to clickbait headlines just to get somebody's attention. But there are things that I can do, and I can create a caption video with key points to a written article, which is then shareable and will make readers want to find out more. And equally, I can do the same with an audio podcast and deliver them a tasty soundbite with a video and a caption too, so they know what to expect. And as a content creator in a digital world, I know that I need to up my game and make my written articles and audio podcasts sexier and more palatable to audiences who want a little bit more than that link and a title in a social media share. So, for those reasons alone, I really enjoyed chatting with Oliver today and think that he's onto something quite special here. But I want to throw this out to you guys. I want you to let me know what you think about how I share this podcast episode. And if you give the Headliner platform a try, because it is free, if you do give it a try, let me know the good points, let me know the bad points, and also how it compares to other similar solutions out there that you've tried. That way, if we can talk about all these solutions on this show, we can all learn together and ultimately inject a little bit more life into our content, no matter what it is. So, as always, email me, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, or pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, head to podcasts, and then you'll find a nice way to record me a virtual voicemail, and we can play that on a future episode too if you want. So I'm going to have a play with Headliner now, seeing how practical it will be for me and how I can create something quite quickly, and we'll see where this leads. Equally, if you've got your own podcast or you're promoting your own content, send me a quick tweet, let me know, I'll help you share it. If we're going to spend 20-25 minutes with each other every single day, I'd like to hear from you and help you if I can too. But I'm afraid we're out of time now, so a big thank you for listening. Keep those messages coming in, keep that feedback coming in, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.